Evelyn, 55 plus. Overcoming grief and finding faith. After the silence. After goodbye. When Evelyn woke up that morning, the world felt heavier than usual. The clock still ticked beside the bed, a mechanical heartbeat in a house that had forgotten how to breathe. The sun filtered through the curtains, casting pale gold across the empty pillow beside her, and for a moment, just a fleeting, cruel moment, she forgot. She reached across the sheets, her fingers searching for warmth that was no longer there. And then, reality crashed down. Richard had been gone for 6 months, half a year. 183 mornings of waking up alone, 183 nights of staring at the ceiling, listening to the silent scream. The grief was no longer the violent storm it once was. No more collapsing in the shower, no more sobbing into his unwashed shirts. Now it was something worse. A slow, dull ache that lived inside her bones, a weight she carried in every breath. She moved through the house like a ghost haunting her own life. The kitchen, once filled with the smell of fresh coffee and his terrible jokes, now felt like a museum of memories she couldn't bear to touch. His favorite mug still sat in the cupboard. She couldn't use it, she couldn't throw it away, so it stayed there, suspended in time, just like her. Evelyn often sat by the window, staring at the empty chair across from her. She'd pour herself coffee she wouldn't drink, toast bread she wouldn't eat, and simply exist. The world outside moved on. People laughed, cars passed, birds sang. But inside this house, time had stopped the day Richard's heart did. Friends had called it first. Flowers arrived. Casseroles piled up. Everyone said the same things. Time heals. He's in a better place. Stay strong. But what they didn't say, what no one dared to say, was that sometimes staying strong feels like betraying your own heart. Sometimes you don't want to heal, because healing means letting go, and letting go feels like losing him all over again. So the calls became less frequent. Life demanded that people move forward, but Evelyn couldn't. Every corner of her home whispered his name, the creak of the floorboard he always meant to fix, the dent in the couch where he'd fall asleep watching old westerns, the garden he planted now overgrown and wild, because she couldn't bring herself to touch what his hands had last touched. At night she prayed, not with eloquence or structure, but with the raw, broken honesty of a soul barely holding on. God, she would whisper into the darkness, her voice cracking, if you're there, if you're listening, help me remember why I'm still here. It wasn't anger that filled her words, but something more haunting, emptiness. A vast, aching void where purpose used to live. Sometimes she spoke directly to Richard. Are you still with me? She'd ask the silence. Do you see me? Do you know how much it hurts? And though no answer came, no sign, no whisper, no divine reassurance, she liked to imagine that somewhere, beyond the veil of what she could see or understand, he was still listening, still loving her, still waiting. The days blurred into one another. Monday felt like Thursday. Morning felt like night. Evelyn became invisible, even to herself, a shadow of the vibrant, laughing woman she used to be. Yet deep inside, beneath layers of grief and exhaustion, something small and stubborn remained. A flicker, a spark refusing to die completely. It was faith. Fragile, trembling, barely alive, but still there. A single ember in the ashes of her broken heart, waiting for the breath of God to reignite it. The weight of the empty days. Grief is a shapeshifter. It transforms, adapts, burrows deeper. For Evelyn, it became routine, a rhythm of numbness disguised as survival. She woke because the sun rose. She cleaned because dust didn't care about sorrow. She cooked meals she barely tasted, folded laundry that no longer needed folding, and moved through each day like an actor in a play she never auditioned for. But the body remembers what the heart endures. Her hands trembled when she held his reading glasses. Her chest tightened when a song played on the radio, one they'd danced to in the kitchen on a Tuesday night. Barefoot and laughing, the world spinning around them like they were the only two people alive. Now she turned the radio off. Silence was safer, The outside world felt too loud, too bright, too alive. Letters piled up unopened. The phone rang. She let it. Friends knocked. She hid. Because how do you explain to someone who still has their person that you've forgotten what it feels like to be whole? How do you tell them that every breath is an act of will, and some days you're just too tired to will yourself into existence? One Sunday morning, after weeks, maybe months of isolation, something shifted. She couldn't say what it was. Maybe it was the way the sunlight hit the kitchen floor, soft and forgiving. Maybe it was exhaustion finally breaking through numbness. But Evelyn forced herself to stand, to walk to the door, to step outside. The air was crisp, the sky impossibly blue. In the distance, church bells rang, their sound faint but persistent, like a heartbeat from another world. She didn't go to church, not yet. She wasn't ready to sit among hymns and prayers and people who still believed in happy endings. But she stood on her porch, listening, and for the first time in months, she felt something other than pain. She felt small, not in a bad way. Small like a child standing before the ocean, realizing how vast the universe is. Small in a way that reminded her she wasn't carrying this alone, even if it felt like she was. A memory surfaced. Her mother's hands, rough and kind, folded in prayer at the kitchen table. The scent of lavender and candle wax. A voice, soft but certain. God will never leave you, Mija. Even when you feel alone, He is there. Even in the dark. Evelyn's throat tightened. She hadn't thought of those words in years, hadn't needed them. But now, standing in the pale morning light, they settled over her like a blanket she didn't know she'd been searching for. That night, she opened a box she'd been avoiding. Photographs, dozens of them. Richard's face, young, laughing, alive, stared back at her from every angle. Their wedding day. Their first house. The trip to the mountains where he'd insisted on hiking in sandals and got blisters for a week. She traced his smile with her fingertip, and the tears came fast and hard, a flood she couldn't stop. But this time, as she wept, something unexpected happened. She didn't feel like she was drowning. She felt held, as if invisible arms surrounded her, steadying her, reminding her that grief and love are two sides of the same coin. You can't have one without the other. That night she dreamed, not of Richard's death, but of light. A warm, golden glow that wrapped around her like a heartbeat. It wasn't him, not exactly, but she knew somehow that he was part of it. That love doesn't end when the body does, that somewhere beyond what her eyes could see, he was still with her. When she woke, the sun was rising, and for the first time in 6 months, Evelyn didn't wish it hadn't. She whispered to the morning, "I'm still here." And somewhere, in the space between earth and heaven, God whispered back, "I know, and so am I." The invitation. It was a Tuesday afternoon when the phone rang. Evelyn stared at it for 3 rings before answering, her heart bracing for disappointment. Another well-meaning voice asking how she was, when neither of them really wanted the truth. But it was Margaret. Sweet, persistent Margaret, who'd known Evelyn since their daughters were in kindergarten together, back when life was playdates, and potlucks and complaints about husbands who left socks on the floor. "Evelyn," Margaret said gently, "we're starting a little book club. Nothing fancy, just a few of us, meeting once a week. Coffee, conversation, company." She paused. "You should come." Evelyn's instinct was to refuse, to say she was tired, busy, not ready. But something in Margaret's voice, something unspoken but deeply understood, stopped her. Margaret had lost her own husband 3 years ago. She knew. She knew that grief is a lonely country, and sometimes the only way out is through the kindness of someone who's walked the same road. "Okay," Evelyn heard herself say. "I'll come." The first meeting was unbearably awkward. 5 women sat in Margaret's living room sipping chamomile tea and talking about novels Evelyn hadn't read, trips she hadn't taken, grandchildren she didn't have. She felt like an imposter, a broken thing pretending to be whole. She almost left. But then one of the women, A soft-spoken woman named Clara with silver hair and sad eyes began to speak. Not about books, about loss, about her husband, gone 2 years now, about the house that felt too big, the bed that felt too cold, the mornings that still made her chest ache. Evelyn looked up. Their eyes met, and in that moment she realized she wasn't alone. Week after week, she returned. They talked about everything and nothing. They laughed, tentatively at first, then freely. They cried. They shared recipes, memories, fears, and sometimes they spoke about faith, not in sermons or scripture, but in quiet, honest words. "Maybe," Clara said one evening, her voice soft, "God doesn't fix everything. Maybe He doesn't take the pain away. Maybe He just gives us the strength to live through what's broken, to find beauty in the cracks." Evelyn felt something stir, a warmth, a recognition. She thought of the Japanese art of kintsugi, broken pottery mended with gold, made more beautiful because of its scars. That night she prayed differently, not begging God to take the pain away, but asking Him to help her carry it, to show her how to live again even with the weight. And for the first time she felt like maybe, just maybe, He was listening. The touch of faith. Spring arrived quietly, like a secret whispered by the earth. The flowers outside Evelyn's window bloomed brighter than she remembered. Crimson tulips, golden daffodils, violet crocuses pushing through the soil with stubborn hope. She watched them from her kitchen, coffee in hand, and thought, if they can bloom after winter, maybe I can too. She began walking every morning, not far, just around the block at first, then a little farther, then to the park where she and Richard used to feed the ducks. Each step felt like an act of defiance against the part of her that wanted to stay buried. Each breath felt like reclaiming her own life. One morning, she found herself standing in front of the small chapel near her street. She'd passed it 100 times but never entered. It was simple, unassuming. A wooden door, stained glass windows, a single bell tower reaching toward the sky. She hesitated. Then, she walked in. The chapel was empty except for a single candle burning near the altar, its flame steady and unwavering. Evelyn slid into a pew, her hands folded, her heart unsure. She didn't know what to say, didn't know if she even believed anymore, but she tried. God. Her voice trembled, barely a whisper. If you're still listening, I'm ready to live again. I don't know how. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm willing. Please, show me. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was full of presence, of peace, of something she couldn't name but could feel deep in her bones. A warmth rose from within, steady and certain, like a hand resting on her shoulder. It wasn't a miracle. It wasn't a voice from heaven, but it was enough. From that day forward, Evelyn began volunteering at a grief support center. She sat with widows and widowers, parents who'd lost children, children who'd lost parents. She listened. She held hands. She cried with strangers who felt like family. And in each story, she found pieces of herself. In every person she comforted, she rediscovered her own strength. Faith wasn't about forgetting Richard. It was about honoring him. By living fully, by loving deeply, by choosing hope even when hope felt impossible. She was learning to bloom again. Her second sunrise. Months later, Evelyn stood in a field of lavender, the morning sun spilling liquid gold across her face. The breeze moved through the flowers like a symphony, and she closed her eyes, letting it wash over her. The warmth, the fragrance, the impossible beauty of simply being alive. She laughed, freely, without guilt, without fear. It was a sound she thought she'd never hear again, her own joy, unfiltered and pure, the kind of laughter that rises from the soul when it finally remembers what it means to breathe without breaking. Behind her, the wind stirred, rustling the lavender in waves of purple and silver. And for a fleeting, impossible moment, she felt him, Richard. Not in sadness, not in the crushing weight of absence, but in love. Pure, boundless, eternal love. The kind that doesn't end when the body does. The kind that lives on in every sunrise, every breeze, every quiet moment of grace. She had met someone, Daniel, a kind man from the volunteer center, with gentle eyes and a quiet strength that reminded her it was okay to let someone in again. They talked for hours about everything and nothing, books, memories, dreams they thought they'd lost. They walked together through parks and along rivers, their steps slow and unhurried, as if time itself had learned to be patient. Evelyn wasn't sure what the future held, and that was okay. She no longer feared the unknown. She had walked through the valley of shadows and emerged, not unscathed but transformed, stronger, softer, more alive than she'd ever been. Life doesn't end with loss, she whispered to herself, to the sky, to God, to Richard. It begins again, differently, but beautifully. She thought of the women in the book club, Clara, Margaret, and the others who had held her hand when she couldn't hold herself together. She thought of the strangers at the grief center who had become her family, each one a mirror reflecting her own journey back to light. She thought of the mornings she didn't think she'd survive, and the quiet, persistent grace that carried her through. Faith, she realized, wasn't about never falling apart. It was about trusting that even in the breaking, something sacred was being born. As the sun climbed higher, painting the sky in shades of rose and amber, Evelyn smiled. This was her second sunrise, not of youth, not of innocence, but of faith, courage, and rebirth. A sunrise earned through tears and prayer, through doubt and surrender, through every single step she took when standing felt impossible. And somewhere, in the quiet space between earth and heaven, Richard smiled too, because love never dies. It simply transforms. It becomes the warmth in the sunlight, the whisper in the wind, the quiet peace that settles over a grateful heart. Evelyn opened her eyes, breathed deeply, and whispered one last prayer. Thank you for the pain that taught me to feel, for the darkness that showed me light, for the loss that revealed what truly remains. Thank you, for this second chance. And God, in his infinite tenderness, whispered back, "You were never alone, my child, not for a single breath. I have always been here, and I always will be." A message for you. If you've made it to the end of Evelyn's story, then perhaps you needed to hear it. Perhaps you too are walking through your own valley, carrying a grief so heavy it feels like it might crush you. Perhaps you've forgotten what it feels like to laugh, to hope, to believe that the sun will rise again. Let Evelyn's journey remind you, you are not alone. Grief is not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to love, and love, my friend, never truly dies. It transforms. It becomes the strength that carries you forward, the grace that holds you when you fall, the quiet whisper that says, "Keep going. You're going to make it." If this story touched your heart, I ask you, from my heart to yours, please give this video a like. It helps us reach others who need this message, others who are searching for hope in the darkest of nights. Subscribe to this channel. If you want more stories like this, stories of faith, resilience, transformation, and the beautiful, messy, sacred journey of being human, and if you know someone, a friend, a family member, a coworker, who is walking through loss right now, please share this video with them. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give is simply letting someone know they're not alone. Leave a comment below. Tell me, what motivates you to keep going? What gives your life meaning? Or simply say hello. I read every single comment, and your words matter more than you know. A blessing for you. Before you go, I want to speak a blessing over your life. May you find peace in the midst of your storm. May you discover strength you didn't know you had. May you feel the presence of God in every breath, every heartbeat, every sunrise. May you know, deeply, truly know, that you are loved beyond measure. And may you walk forward with courage, grace, and unshakable hope. You are not alone. You are seen. You are loved. And your story is not over. Go with God, and may blessings overflow in your life today and always. Amen.